5 on your side at 10 begins with a weather impact alert as bitter cold tightens its grip on the bi-state. An Arctic blast is driving temperatures well below freezing, and dangerous sub-zero wind chills are taking it to another level. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Mike Bush. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with a look at our weather impact forecast. And Scott, we cannot emphasize enough how dangerous this bitter cold can be.
Especially if you're going to be outside for any amount of time here. And as we head into tomorrow, that's when we're really looking at this cold air once again surging in. We're at our warmest point at this point for Sunday. The temperatures, the front's just coming through now, and that Arctic front and the subsequent Arctic air behind it will start to spill in. So from 3 o'clock tomorrow morning until noon, wind chills anywhere in the morning hours from 5 to 15 degrees below zero. You will need the extra layers, all the winter garb out the door tomorrow, and the pets would want to be inside. Just got an update from Lambert. We actually went up another degree to 33. 33 is our new high for the day. Morning low was 11. We're in that territory tomorrow. The winds just turned to the northwest. So while these numbers are still in the upper 20s and lower 30s, we've reached about the peak that we're going to see today. Both the temperatures and the wind chills dropping tonight. Cold weather advisory, that's in effect here as you go into Madison County, up to Jersey, Calhoun counties, and then going east and north from there to include the rest of Illinois. By tomorrow morning, 10 to 15 degrees below zero on the wind chills. At times, it may even feel colder than that because winds will be a bit gusty tomorrow morning, more so than they have been the last couple of days. Wind chills even in the metro area are going to be on the cold side tomorrow morning. We're anticipating Metro St. Louis running about 5 to 8 degrees below zero out the door, and our coldest temperatures coming around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll see in a few minutes. We'll talk about a little bit of a warm-up for the week ahead.
And if you need a warm place to stay tonight in the city, help is available. Nearly 800 beds across multiple shelters are open tonight. Those shelters include Peter and Paul off North Florissant, the Biddle Housing Opportunity Center, Peter and Paul off Kings Highway, and Peter and Paul off Sydney. If you need to get to one of these shelters, you can call United Way at 211. The Urban League is also stepping up to help those in need. Officials tell us the nonprofit is working to deliver hot meals and coats to the community. They say the help is especially needed as so many in North City are still affected by the May 16th tornado.
Families are still without proper homes. Their homes have been demolished. So the outreach now and providing hotel rooms and providing warm, hot food and giving people hope right now is very important.
And the Urban League wants to remind you to check on elderly loved ones as this dangerous cold continues. And if you want to help those in need, the nonprofit collects coats throughout the year for situations just like this. And we also want you to stay safe and stay up to date. You can get our weather impact forecast anytime. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send a link directly to your phone. A woman was killed and another injured after a late night shooting in Belleville. The suspect later died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The shooting happened Saturday off Jamestown Road. Our Reagan DeTrolio has new information from police and what people living in that area are saying.
It was just traumatizing to see someone just laid out, not moving.
Vontae Harvey and his neighbors at this apartment complex off Jamestown Road say Saturday's gunshots rang throughout the neighborhood.
I was just laying on the couch watching TV, dozing off, and I just heard some gunshots. Bap, 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 bap.
It sounded like it was about like 7 to 10 shots, though. It sounded like a lot.
Officers with the Belleville Police Department told 5 on Your Side off camera one woman was shot and killed here in the middle of the street at about 11:20 Saturday evening. Another woman found injured in a car nearby. The suspect was found just a few hours later driving on I-55 in Perry County, but Belleville police say they took their own life before officers could arrest them. Neighbors here at this apartment complex peeked out their windows when they heard the gunshots ring out. One man I talked with even walked me through and showed me exactly what he saw here in this parking lot.
The lady was laying out here on the, in the middle of the street. You know, they were trying to give her CPR on her or whatnot.
Brandon Pickett says this shooting was shocking and out of the ordinary for this area.
I actually heard the shots. It was like about 7 shots, but I didn't think none of it because this Belleville, you know, I come from East St. Louis, and it really go down like that. So when I heard the shots, I didn't think much of it. I thought somebody was just shooting in the air. For this to be happening around here, It don't really happen like that, you know. So I really wasn't expecting for somebody to be out there dead, you know what I'm saying? So, and then a female at that, you know, so that was kind of crazy.
And for neighbors like Harvey, he's just hoping to get the memory of the shooting out of his head.
It's heartbreaking to know that someone just lost their life.
Reporting in Belleville, I'm Reagan DeTrolio, 5 on your side.
The investigation remains ongoing. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Belleville Police Department Investigations Division. That number is 618-234-1212. This week, the man who hit St. Louis police officer Nathan Spees on I-70 will face sentencing. Frank Carr pleaded guilty to hitting Spees while the officer was trying to take someone else into custody last March. Spees lost part of his leg in the crash. Carr pleaded guilty to 2 counts of leaving the scene of an accident and 1 for evidence tampering. He's due back in court Tuesday at 9 a.m. The United States Supreme Court has agreed to hear an appeal from Roundup weed killer developer Bayer. This comes to us from our partners at the St. Louis Business Journal. The company, which has a hub in St. Louis, is making an appeal of a lower court ruling that, if approved, could block thousands of lawsuits surrounding its Roundup weed killer. Those lawsuits claim the weed killer causes cancer and the company failed to warn its customers. Bayer says the product is safe. The court did not say when it will hear arguments in the case, but a Bayer spokesperson says the company expects a decision by June. In the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., community leaders gathered today to honor the men and women who gave their lives to serve our country. Here's a look at the 14th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Sunday Supper, which is a salute to veterans and military families. More than 300 veterans and their families gathered for more than a meal. They gathered for fellowship and recognition. Organizers say having this event on a Sunday is significant because that's when Dr. King would sit down with those closest to him.
And on Sundays is the day that they broke bread and had discussions. And they were able to recognize the significance of shared information and making next steps.
Veterans also had access to resources including housing, health, education, and employment resources. Well, after their time in the Friday night spotlight, this football team shows up on Saturday to learn the rhythm of respect.
So to have our football team support us in the way that we support them is super powerful.
We're going to head to Utah, where cheers go both ways and sportsmanship tackles stereotypes.
Making a Difference is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
Well, a week from tonight in prime time here on 5 on Your Side, we're going to broadcast the annual Musial Awards, honoring sportsmanship that goes far beyond the scoreboard. And in tonight's Making a Difference story, I travel to Utah to meet one of the honorees and to show you what happens when the band supports football and football returns the favor.
On Friday nights in American Fork, Utah, there's a powerful sound echoing off the Wasatch Mountains. It's the sound of harmony. Here, football has been part of the town's heartbeat since 1902.
They love football out here in American Fork, and like everybody comes out to support.
Players here grind through hours of work few ever see.
Not a lot of people see what we do, like our practices, our lifts.
What fans see under the lights is built in the dark, watching film, lifting weights, and learning lessons in character.
It's really just talking about the things you do that nobody sees and how they matter and how they shape who you are.
But here's where American Fork changes the playbook, because just across the practice field, another team is grinding just as hard. They don't even get a locker room.
They do 10 hours of rehearsal a week for marching band. This is all after school, right? It's not during the school day.
The marching band season starts in April. It includes a boot camp in June. And last year at a competition in Indiana, they finished 8th in the nation. But here's the thing about marching band. In most schools, they're background music, the soundtrack to someone else's glory.
Like in movies and stuff like that, it's always like the stereotype that football players are like cool, and then like there's band kids who are just like nerdy.
The cool kids and the band kids. Never the twain shall meet. Except here.
Please welcome the American Fork High School Marching Band.
Because at American Fork, after the football team plays on Friday night, They show up on a Saturday night to watch the band compete in the annual Mount Timpanogos Invitational.
So to have our football team support us in the way that we support them is super powerful.
And this isn't a one-off gesture. It's a tradition, a play they run every season.
When I showed up here 6 years ago, Aaron was like, so we'll be at the competition on Saturday. And I was like, you will?
Coach Beam calls it seeing beyond yourself.
Well, the way we explain it to the football team is there's a mirror room and there's a window room. The mirror room, all you see is yourself. And that's not where you want to be.
The window room is also where someone else's win becomes your win too.
Good job out there. Thank you.
The cool kids and the band kids, all just kids who've learned the rhythm of respect.
It's just about building a culture and a community around our school. Like, it makes it so much better for everyone.
So when that sound rolls off the mountains, listen closely. It's not just the band playing, it's a whole community marching to the same beat.
You can have different talents, you can spend your time in different places, and we can still be united as a community, and we can still support each other.
That story and many more like it next Sunday at 8 p.m. on the annual Musial Awards right here on 5 on Your Side. And if you know someone making a difference for others, let me know by email at mbush@ksdk.com. Well, the Cardinals' winter warm-up wrapped up this afternoon. Several Cardinals standouts spent the afternoon chatting with fans and the media. You know, J.J. Weatherholt is the #1 prospect for the Cardinals. The 21-year-old says he hopes his game is a combination of his favorite players.
You know, I played mainly second growing up, so I loved Altuve and Pedroia. I was always like a smaller speed guy. Pedroia didn't have a ton of speed, but Altuve did, and so like those were guys that just had to play the game and do everything the right way. So I definitely looked up to them. And then from a hitting standpoint, swing-wise, I just loved Robinson Cano's swing. He was, my flashy guy that I looked up to. The grinder, 5'8", 5'9" guys that I looked up to, and then Cano was kind of the free-swinging, showy guy out at second.
Spring training starts February 20th. The Cards will go up against the Washington Nationals. All right, Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell rejoins us now with our weather impact forecast, and it's a frigid one.
Oh, it is. Temperatures are going to drop overnight. Right now, that Arctic front is right in the St. Louis area, and it's coming through. And as it does so, it's really going to drop the temperatures. And tomorrow, we're looking at highs only in the lower 20s. Now, I know at midnight, it's probably going to be still around 30, but tomorrow during the day, it's going to be rather miserable. The winds are going to be gusty. Your wind chills will just be climbing above zero around lunchtime in St. Louis. So if you're doing your day of service outside tomorrow for MLK Day, just know you got to have a lot of layers. That's why we have our weather impact alert. Now, after that, it'll warm up a little bit for Tuesday into Wednesday, but there's more Arctic air for the end of the week. Right now, we're watching that cold Arctic air spill in across the upper Midwest. The front itself coming into St. Louis as we speak. Our temperature right now, as warm as it's been all day long at 33 degrees. But notice as you go up the road to Des Moines, watch their temperatures just go whoop and down to 12 now. So the colder air is definitely coming in, and we're going to be in that 10, 12, maybe single-digit range early tomorrow morning. And most likely the low for the day is around 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow morning in St. Louis as the cold air keeps coming, which means we don't get a big rebound. So you have the cold weather advisory east and north of St. Louis on the Illinois side of the river. These are the numbers we're looking at for your wind chills tomorrow morning. And it could be even worse than this in spots, especially when the gusty winds take hold. The wind chills are based on sustained winds, not those strong gusts. And there will be some gusts around 30, 35 miles per hour tomorrow morning. So it's one of those situations where, yes, it's cold. It's going to stay cold. Here's the deal. The front comes through. The colder air surges in overnight. And when do we reach our lowest point? Right around 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. But then we're not rebounding much tomorrow afternoon. By tomorrow evening, the winds do finally start to settle down. And as we head towards the end of the week, you can see we're on this roller coaster again, back into the mid to upper 40s Wednesday, and then we start dropping it off again as we head towards the weekend. Next Saturday looks like it's going to be cold. Now, there's also the potential that there's going to be some energy sliding by to our south. Don't want you to get worked up about this. I just want to put it on your radar at this point. Two things. Really cold high pressure more Arctic air, probably colder than tomorrow for next Saturday, and also a southern system. How much moisture this southern system is going to be able to drag this far north, that's hugely in question at this point. But there is the potential for some winter weather, especially farther south. It's definitely bitter cold as we head towards Saturday and into Sunday of next week. We're again looking at single-digit temperatures by Saturday morning. Odds are that comes with some gusty winds, which means more big wind chills for us. Here you go with your look at the temperatures here. Next 7 days, it's a lot of cold here to start us off and also to end for next weekend. Your warmest day is Wednesday. Tomorrow morning, extra layers out the door with those wind chills in the single digits below zero for most of us, and some 10 to 15 below zero temperatures off to the northeast.
It's time to go on the move. I'm Paul Cook, your traffic guy from Today in St. Louis. Safe parking for semis is a big issue, and not just in Missouri and Illinois, but across the country. Later this month, Missouri's Department of Transportation wants your input on improving truck parking along the I-70 corridor. These days, you see tractor trailers parking not just at truck stops and rest areas, but on ramps and roads. According to MoDOT, during peak hours, all of I-70's public truck parking areas are over capacity, and the majority of truck stops have more trucks than they can handle. David Pike at NFI Industries says parking is at a premium due to increased freight demand, regulations, and insufficient infrastructure. As part of the massive I-70 improvement plan, about $29 million in grant money will be used to expand truck parking along the corridor. If you want to give your input, MoDOT is holding a meeting on Wednesday, January 28th at Wright City Middle School. It's a come-and-go meeting from 4 to 6 p.m. If you want to know more about the I-70 truck parking project, MoDOT wants to hear it from you. Providing safe off-highway parking increases safety for all travelers on the road and reduces the cost of shoulder and guardrail repairs. Remember, sharing the road responsibly with semis and other big trucks helps keep everyone safer. Paul Cook, 5 on your side.
Tariff troubles for countries that oppose a U.S. takeover of Greenland, how American consumers could pay the price. Today, ambassadors from the European Union held an emergency meeting after President Trump announced new tariffs on countries that oppose the U.S. takeover of Greenland. The EU is one of the U.S.'s largest trading partners, and those tariffs could mean higher prices for American consumers. For months now, the Trump administration has insisted the U.S. should control Greenland for security reasons, but the territory belongs to Denmark. Now officials close to the president say the move to impose the new tariffs helps avoid a, quote, national emergency.
This is a geopolitical decision, and he is able to use the economic might of the U.S. to avoid a hot war. So why wouldn't we do that?
The tariffs start February 1st at 10% for 8 European countries that oppose the U.S. taking over Greenland. That will rise to 25% in June unless a takeover agreement is made. Some experts say the tariffs could raise the price of pharmaceuticals, cars, wine, and food. The Pentagon has put some active duty troops on prepare to deploy orders in case the president wants to send them to Minnesota. NBC News is reporting this came from 2 U.S. officials. Last week, the president threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act in response to recent Minneapolis protests. In preparation for the possibility of those orders, the Pentagon has notified 1,500 troops. No indication yet if the president will use the Insurrection Act. Earlier this month, Vice President J.D. Vance said ICE agents would, quote, ramp up deportations by going door to door to check for people living in the U.S. illegally. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, asked Illinois Representative Mike Bost about the legality of those operations on the record.
Going door to door is not an uncommon practice when looking for criminals.
A person's home is the most sacred protected space in constitutional law. The Fourth Amendment protects our privacy. The Fifth Amendment protects our life, liberty, and property.
You know, you don't have to quote the Constitution to me. I know it. But I'm telling you that when it is a there's federal crime involved, there is a procedure that you can go to locate them door to door.
Well, you can catch the rest of that discussion on demand now on the 5 on Your Side app. Sweet Victory, the little malt shop that just won a tall glass of recognition. Clayton Restaurant Week is making a comeback tomorrow. More than a dozen local restaurants are participating. Each business will offer a prefix menu Monday through Sunday, and those go for $39, $59, or $79 per person, depending on the restaurant. You'll get a 3-course meal, usually with an appetizer, entree, and dessert. Reservations for Restaurant Week need to be made through each individual business. The National Museum of Transportation was just nominated for USA Today's Best Open Air Museum Award. It was one of 20 nominated across the country. The museum holds an extensive collection of historic cars and trains, planes and trolleys, highlighting the evolution of transportation in American history. You can vote for the museum right now. Just find a link in the article on KSDK.com in the As Seen on TV section. Voting ends February 9th. The winners will be announced the following Wednesday. And speaking of awards, a family-owned favorite in South City just got some, not South City, North City just got some sweet recognition. Crown Candy's owner, Andy Karanzev, was just named St. Louis's Restaurateur of the Year by the Missouri Restaurant Association. The diner made the announcement on its Facebook page. Crown Candy Kitchen first opened in 1913 by Andy's grandfather. It's been a local favorite ever since. The restaurant thanked the St. Louis community for its support. And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. Now here's Frank Cusimano with Sports Plus.